Scroll back far enough on your camera roll, past the memes, past whatever you had for lunch on Tuesday, past 100 screenshots you'll never look at again. Keep going. Somewhere around early 2020, you'll hit a wall. A weirdly specific one. The photos on the other side of it start looking like they belong to someone else. Not a different time. A different person. You, but before. There's a very particular kind of dizzy that comes from looking at a photo of yourself crammed into a crowded bar, or hugging someone at an airport gate. No space between you, no thought given to it at all. Like personal space was a concept that hadn't been invented yet. You know, logically that's you. 5 or 6 years ago, but something about the way that person is standing, the way they don't flinch when a stranger's shoulder brushes past them, feels almost foreign now. A little naive even. Like watching someone in a movie walk toward a door you already know is about to slam. And here's the part almost nobody says out loud. It's not just you. Something actually did change. Not overnight. Not in one clean before and after photo like a war ending or a wall coming down. Just quietly. Over about 3 years while everyone was busy looking somewhere else. Every other big thing that happens to a generation gets a photo. One single frame everyone silently agrees on. The falling towers. The guy standing in front of the tank. You can point at it and say, there, that's the moment everything changed. COVID never gave us that. It gave us 3 years of blur. A door that shut in March and never really had a clean moment where it swung back open and up wide. It just got quieter about being closed. There was no single day the world went back to normal. One stretch everyone's wiping down groceries with disinfectant wipes and clapping out of windows for nurses at 7 p.m. And then, without anyone actually announcing it, everyone's just back in offices and bars and airport security lines again, half pretending none of it happened. Like waking up mid-surgery and picking a conversation back up in the middle of a sentence. For about 6 straight weeks in 2020, most of the planet agreed, without discussing it, to bake banana bread and watch a documentary about a man with a mullet and a private zoo of tigers. At the time, that felt completely normal. It's only from here that it looks insane. And maybe that's the strangest part of all of it. We never got a debrief, no ritual, no ceremony, no single day where the whole world collectively agreed, okay, that happened, that was hard, let's actually say so out loud. We just went back. Quietly. Individually. Everyone processing an enormous, invisible, years-long event completely alone, mostly at 2 a.m. Mostly while insisting to everyone around them that they were fine. You can actually see the aftershock in the data if you go looking for it. Even before any of this started, roughly half of American adults already said they dealt with loneliness on a regular basis. After 2020, it got bad enough that the US Surgeon General issued an actual public health advisory about it, putting the health risk of chronic loneliness in the same range as smoking close to a pack of cigarettes a day. Nearly half of adults said they'd lost touch with friends they used to be close to during that stretch, and the number of Americans who say they don't have a single close friend has more than quadrupled since 1990, with men hit even harder than that. None of that happened because people suddenly got less friendly. It happened because the machinery of casual human contact got switched off for 2 or 3 years. Right in the exact window, everyone's habits were quietly reforming around something else entirely. The hallway small talk. The gym you went to at the same time as the same 3 regulars. The office birthday cake nobody really wanted but everyone showed up for anyway. All of it just stopped, for long enough that when it switched back on, a lot of people didn't reach for it the same way again. Not out of coldness, out of atrophy. Like a muscle you stopped using and now you can't quite remember how to flex it. And then there's the time thing, which almost nobody names correctly but almost everyone has felt. Ask someone what year something happened. A wedding, a move, a breakup, and if it landed anywhere between 2020 and 2022, watch them pause. Actually do the math out loud. Wait, was that during lockdown? Was that before or after everything opened back up? Like, those particular years don't sit in memory the normal way other years do. They're not filed away properly. They're more like a fog bank you walked through, and you're not entirely sure how long you were in there or what order anything actually happened in. There's a real name for that. In the research, something researchers who study memory and collective trauma call temporal disintegration. This odd collapse where days blur into each other, where the past stops feeling properly connected to the present and the future stops feeling like something you can clearly picture. One national study done partway through the pandemic found that roughly 2 out of every 3 people were living through exactly that. days blurring together, a genuine uncertainty about what came before what. A separate study put the number even higher, north of 80%, of people reporting that time itself simply stopped behaving the way it used to. About half said it felt like it was somehow speeding up and slowing down at the exact same time, which doesn't even make sense until you've actually lived it. And then it makes horrible, perfect sense. That's not a metaphor. That's measured. Something about a slow, faceless, shared emergency. One with no single dramatic photo, just an endless scroll of case count graphics and a sourdough starter you fed for 3 weeks and then quietly let die, genuinely scrambled something in how our brains file away time. And unlike normal aging, unlike ordinary nostalgia, this didn't happen gradually to one person at a time. It happened to almost everyone alive all at once, and then it got filed under weird years, and nobody mentioned it again. And re-entry came with its own particular flavor of strange, one nobody prepared us for either. Remember the anxiety of the first normal thing you did again? Not the big symbolic stuff everyone talks about, the wedding, the graduation, the small stuff. The first time you had to make actual small talk with a stranger's whole face, not just the top half over a screen. The first time you sat in a genuinely full restaurant and it felt loud in a way it never used to. The first time someone stood a little too close in a grocery line and your whole nervous system flinched before your brain even caught up with why. We spent every ounce of energy preparing for the emergency, and then the emergency just ended administratively on a memo, while everybody's actual nervous system was still quietly running the old software underneath. You don't get to unlearn a full year of hypervigilance just because a mandate got lifted somewhere. Bodies don't read press releases. And underneath all of it, something even quieter happened to the actual shape of people's lives. People got engaged over a laptop camera because that's all there was. People had babies and could count on one hand the people who got to meet them in those first few months. People lost someone, a grandparent, a parent, sometimes someone much younger than that's supposed to apply to, and didn't get anything that felt like a real goodbye. Just a phone screen, a nurse holding it up. Love that had to travel through a data connection to land, that kind of grief doesn't get processed the normal way, because it never got the normal shape. No room full of people, no hand on your shoulder, just absence, delivered flat, through a rectangle, and plenty of ordinary friendships just quietly ended too. Not with a fight. Not with some dramatic falling out you could point to and explain. Just distance. 5 weeks of not talking turned into 5 months, and by the time reaching out crossed your mind, too much had happened on both sides to casually catch up on, so you just didn't. And now there's someone out there who used to know exactly what you had for breakfast most mornings, and you genuinely couldn't tell them the name of the street you live on now. So when someone says life feels different now, not worse, necessarily, just different. Thinner in certain places, heavier in others. Like the furniture's still where it always was, but the whole room got quietly rearranged around it. They're not being dramatic. They're not chasing nostalgia for a past that wasn't even that good. They're describing something real, a shared, mostly unspoken event that every single person alive today lived through at roughly the same time, mostly alone, and then never really got a proper moment to set down. We got good as a species at commemorating the fast disasters, the wars, the single terrible days. We built museums and anniversaries and documentaries for those. We've never quite figured out what to do with a slow one. A blurry one with no single photo to point at. So it just sits there, half-processed, quietly reshaping how close people are comfortable standing to each other, how many friendships feel manageable to maintain, how loud a room has to get before it feels like too much. So the next time you scroll back to one of those old photos, the crowded one, the one with the version of you who didn't flinch, and you feel that strange little drop in your stomach, that's not you being overly sentimental. That's not just getting older talking. That's a part of you that lived through something enormous and blurry and never got a ceremony for it. Quietly saying, that happened. I was there, and I'm still catching up. You're not imagining it. Life actually did feel different back there, and it's okay if some part of you is still, very gently, finding its way back to the room.